Hey everyone, welcome. Let's just dive right into this, okay? Today, we are unpacking a topic that probably feels incredibly familiar and, let's be honest, super frustrating for a lot of us. We're looking at the psychology of study resistance. If you've ever sat down at your desk fully intending to be super productive only to hit this massive mental wall, well, this explainer is exactly for you. The science behind why this actually happens is absolutely fascinating, and trust me on this, it is probably not what you think.
So I gotta ask, have you ever felt like you just absolutely hate studying, even when you know deep down that it's incredibly important? It's kind of wild, right? But what's really fascinating is how universal this feeling actually is. You've got the rational side of your brain basically screaming, hey, I need to do this for my future, but at the exact same time, there's this overwhelming emotional pushback. It's just a deeply human and highly frustrating disconnect.
Let's walk through exactly how this whole sequence plays out in real time. Step 1. You try to focus. You set up your workspace, you've got the best intentions, right? But then, step 2, your brain resists, and it's almost physical. You can literally feel the friction, which leads to step 3, you procrastinate. You avoid the task entirely, or you get hit with this bizarre wave of exhaustion before you've even read a single sentence. You aren't just failing to study here, you're actively fighting your own mind.
Section 1. Is it just laziness?
For generations, society, and let's be real, our own harsh inner critics, have slapped a pretty heavy label on this cycle, calling it laziness. We tend to view it as a character flaw, or just a total lack of willpower. But modern psychology, it completely pivots away from this idea. It's not laziness, it's psychological conditioning. Our brains form these hidden associations that we aren't even consciously aware of. So no, you're not lazy, your brain has simply been conditioned.
Section 2. The brain's hidden associations.
Okay, so if it's not a lack of willpower, what exactly is going on under the hood here? Well, it all comes down to something called conditioned association. See, your brain is this highly efficient pattern recognition machine. It learns to link studying with negative experiences, things like stress, intense boredom, or high pressure. If opening a textbook always brings on a wave of exam stress, your brain actually wires them together. Studying literally equals pressure in your mind. So that sudden exhaustion you feel, it's actually a learned defense mechanism, built by your brain to keep you safe from what it perceives as a threat. Crazy, right?
By breaking down these real psychological reasons in this explainer, we're decoding the hidden mechanics of your mind. You can start to see the invisible software that's just running in the background. The whole goal here is clarity, honestly. You need to be able to recognize when your brain is simply executing an outdated, unhelpful program based on past negative associations. Once you see that, you stop confusing that mental resistance with a lack of personal drive.
Section 3. Changing the learning paradigm.
You know, you really can't fight a hidden enemy. But once your brain's protective conditioning is brought into the light, everything changes. As the source notes, and this is a great quote, once you understand these patterns, you will start to see studying and your behavior completely differently. When you catch yourself wanting to procrastinate, you can just pause for a second and say, wait, this isn't me being a bad student. This is simply my brain reacting to a perceived threat. That simple shift in perspective completely removes the burden of guilt, and it allows you to approach your work with a clear, strategic mind.
Which leads us to a final, really vital thought to leave you with. Now that you know it's not laziness, how will you approach your desk tomorrow? You are now armed with a completely new psychological insight into your own behavior. So tomorrow, when that familiar wave of avoidance hits, and it probably will, remember this explainer. You don't have to just surrender to the exhaustion. You can recognize it for exactly what it is, a conditioned reflex, and you can consciously choose to start building new positive associations. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I really hope this empowers your next study session.